you haven't heard already, GOA and Representative Andrew Clyde helped pro-gun congressmen take a massive dub in Congress yesterday. ATF can hold this L while we dismantle their unconstitutional pistol ban in the courts and in Congress.
On this vote, the yeas are 219 and the nays are 210. The joint resolution is passed. Without opposition, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. But we'll get back to that. First, let me peel back the curtain here in the swamp and tell you the real story of how we got here and what gun owners need to do next. I'm Ben Sanderson, and you're watching the Minuiteman Moment. You see, while GOA was suing the ATF in court and winning an injunction for our members and the state of Texas, we've been fighting like hell in Congress too. As much as it pains us to admit, to abandon Washington, D.C. is to abandon all hope of a political or judicial path towards restoring our Second Amendment rights. Not only does Congress appoint the judges who rule on our cases, it is also part of the constitutional process of slapping down an overzealous executive branch. Joe Biden. But back to yesterday's votes. GOA has been working with the House of Representatives to block the rule since before the Biden pistol ban was even finalized. You, the viewer, the Grassroots two-way activists, helped GOA blast the hill with calls for action for months. And so, the House Judiciary Committee marked up the GOA-backed bill led by Representative Andrew Clyde, HJ Res 44. And while Congress was on track for a vote by the June 1st enforcement deadline at first, other swamp politics got in the way, and the House of Representatives missed our deadline.
There was intense pressure on this rule. Talk to us about the pressure that went on to make sure, particularly given the vastly important work you're doing up here for the Second Amendment.
Well, I was called about 12:30 or so on Wednesday, and I was told by leadership that that if I didn't vote for the rule, that it would be very difficult to bring my bill to the floor. Now, remember, the bill that I have is HJ Res 44. This is the pistol brace rule. This is a rule, or this is a bill rather, that takes down the overreach of the ATF. The ATF is trying to become Congress here and create a law that they don't have the authority to create. A law that makes felons out of tens of thousands, actually millions.
Now that's a big oof, and not okay. As GOA's Director of Federal Affairs said.
But put in perspective exactly what we're talking about. How big an issue is this? Because we're out in the hinterland. I mean, for our audience and other people in MAGA, it's like their number one or two priority. What say you, sir?
Absolutely. Last week at midnight, Joe Biden banned up to 40 million pistols. And as of right now, unless you're covered by one of the court injunctions, which only apply to the plaintiffs in the case, then the Biden administration could kick in your door and take the gun that you bought last year or 10 years ago with a background check at a gun store and say, that's an illegal short-barrel rifle, you're going to jail under this new rule. And what Congress hasn't voted yet, this went into effect last week. They've missed their deadline. This is totally unacceptable that it's the ban went into effect at the same time as the debt ceiling. The debt ceiling was used apparently against Representative Andrew Clyde, and he voted his conscience, and we fully support his right to vote his conscience on any issue. And now we're not seeing a vote in the House of Representatives. There's nothing on the schedule to block the Biden administration from banning 40 million guns. That's just outrageous.
Now, this story circulated on Capitol Hill until a few days later. Boom! 11 members of Congress were fed up with the mistreatment of the Second Amendment, and they ground Congress to a halt until they take a vote to protect the Second Amendment. Almost immediately after that, our bill sponsor, Representative Clyde, got called into a meeting in the Capitol and walked out and tweeted this. House GOP leadership just confirmed my resolution to block the ATF's unconstitutional pistol brace rule will come to the House floor for a vote next Tuesday. I'll hold them to this promise, and I will never back down in the fight to defend our natural rights. So we all got together to sing Kumbaya, and a few days later, we all made the vote announcement together. Today, Majority Leader Steve Scalise, Representative Andrew Clyde, Representative Richard Hudson, Second Amendment, and veteran advocacy groups issued statements on Representative Clyde's CRA resolution to block the Biden administration's unconstitutional pistol brace rule ahead of its expected vote on the floor next week. And bam, all of a sudden, it was on. The House of Representatives was set to stand up to the Biden pistol ban, and every other gun lobby and veterans groups rushed to send out their keynote votifications and drum up support at the last minute. So Representative Clyde, a bunch of members of Congress, veteran groups, and GOA spoke at a press conference outside the Capitol.
Thank you for being here this afternoon as my colleagues and I, along with a concerned outside organization, urge members to support this Congressional Review Act joint resolution of disapproval, HJ Res 44. Which Mr. Hudson and I are co-leading to strike down the ATF's unconstitutional stabilizing brace rule. This is backdoor gun control, plain and simple. After all, President Biden's ultimate goal is an unarmed America.
Listen, our nation's veterans have served this country honorably. They and their families have sacrificed for the freedoms we enjoy. And today they're calling on us to support their constitutionally protected Second Amendment right.
For his leadership on this issue, Representative Clyde even had to overcome threats from leadership to move this very important piece of legislation because he voted his conscience on the debt ceiling bill. American citizens' Second Amendment rights should never be used as a bargaining chip.
And now I'd like to introduce Aiden Johnson from Gun Owners of America. Gun Owners of America have been instrumental in this entire process.
My name is Aiden Johnston. I'm the Director of Federal Affairs for Gun Owners of America. GOA was established in 1976 and is proudly known as the only no-compromise gun lobby in Washington, D.C. At midnight on June 1st, President Biden banned up to 40 million pistols. No law was passed. It was the largest gun ban in our nation's history, and it happened by executive order.
And GOA even reminded Congress that they ultimately need to repeal the NFA.
We are proud to see the House take action and thank Representative Andrew Clyde for his leadership on the issue. Whether it's bump stocks or pistol braces, the archaic National Firearms Act has been weaponized against the American people for far too long. No president has the right to ban a firearm or a firearm accessory. GOA stands to protect and restore the Second Amendment rights of the people. Right now, that's by blocking this rule. And moving forward, that's by repealing the unnecessary restrictions dating back to the National Firearms Act of 1934. The American people deserve the freedom to decide which firearms best suit their personal needs.
A few hours later, the House of Representatives passed HJ Res 44, the Congressional Review Act, to overturn the Biden pistol ban by a vote of 219 to 210. Even better, this was a bipartisan bill with two Democrats, Representative Golden of Maine and Representative Peltola of Alaska, joining the pro-2A side. Remember these states. It will be important later. And now for the naughty list. Representative Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania and Representative Keene of New Jersey sided with Biden's bureaucrats against your Second Amendment rights. If you live in any of these winners or losers districts, I'd recommend you to either thank them for standing up for your rights or tell them how upset you are for putting 40 million Americans' gun rights up for grabs. But wait, there's more. Now, HJ Res 44 is headed to the Senate for a vote, where it only needs a simple majority to pass. And here's the best part. Because it's a CRA and it's already passed in the House, Chuck Schumer and his anti-gun cronies can't stop it from getting a floor vote or even filibuster it. On top of that, Maine and Alaskan Democrats crossing the aisle to defend 2A rights mean the pressure is on in the senators in those states to vote the same way. Otherwise, they'll be hammered in their next elections. We'll make sure of that. So we need everyone to use the number below and tell your senators to vote to protect your gun rights on this bill, especially you folks in Maine, Alaska, Arizona, West Virginia, and Montana. This means that the bill could pass the Senate in a very timely manner. Of course, many of you smart viewers out there know that once this resolution passes through the Senate, it lands on the president's desks. And you might be saying, oh, Joe Biden will never sign that. And you'd be correct. In fact, the president has already made an official statement about his plans to veto the resolution if it reaches the Resolute desk. But before you start commenting about how bad the swamp is and how nothing matters anymore, let me explain some more. If Congress puts the resolution on the president's desk and he vetoes it, it's extremely clear that the executive branch needs its power checked immediately. That's where GOA's second arm steps in, our fight in the courts. Federal courts have granted preliminary injunctions to several lawsuits focused on the pistol brace rule, like our case, GOA in Texas versus ATF. This act of Congress completely disproves ATF's argument that they're simply enforcing laws based on Congress's will. To justify that statement, they're using the almost 100-year-old 1934 National Firearms Act as proof. Now, this resolution sends a strong message to the courts that ATF is wrongfully assuming Congress's intent. Courts will have no choice but to refuse ATF's arguments and strike down the pistol brace rule permanently. Oh, and while that's all going on, GOA is going to continue our work on Capitol Hill to defund the ATF and the pistol brace rule in next year's ATF budget. We here at the No Compromise Gun Lobby use this holistic approach to guarantee the best odds when we're defending your rights. And we're not going to walk away from a fight just because it's in Congress and not a court battle. And now, on a more personal note, the whole GOA team and I have been working on this bill since the day the proposed rule was first announced in 2021. And you, the members, have been right there with us the entire time. You submitted the majority of comments on the original rule, far outnumbering any other group. You called, you emailed, and you fought alongside us on the front lines of this tyranny. Thank you. It's always awesome to see your work having a direct impact on protecting all of our rights. We're excited to celebrate this victory with all of our members and supporters and our congressional patriots. But the fight's not over yet. While the resolution only needs a simple majority of 51 votes, many weak senators will be pressured not to vote yes. So we're calling on all gun owners to make their voices heard by letting their senators know to vote to overturn the pistol brace rule. Thanks for watching, and subscribe to get more updates on what GOA is doing for your rights.